Hey guys. Hey everybody. I'm not filming the best time of day because the sun is super harsh right now. I just took a long walk with my dogs, 2 of them. I don't know if I've mentioned this in my videos. I don't think I have. My old girl has been struggling. She's had some health stuff and we can't quite figure out what it is. I think it's mini seizures. For sure that's involved, but I don't know what it's gonna be long term for her. I've got her on some medication that seems to be helping, but she's not herself yet. I don't know if she will be herself again. So you can pray for that. You know how much I love my dogs. They're like family. But I just thought I'd take a walk because it's been hard to find time to, I mean, I guess not after the day is over, but I feel like I don't really let myself just come out and enjoy the beautiful weather and the beautiful day and the outdoors until after all of my work is done. And that's fine, except I feel like I may not realize it, but I actually need to make it a point to be outside. Of course I come out in the morning with the dogs, but it's kind of like a to-do. Gotta get out, let the dogs use the potty, go back in, make breakfast, get ready for the day, get school started, you know? And then I've got housework right after school, which is fine. I love housework. But when it's sunny and beautiful outside and I know the temperature's amazing, I'm thinking, why am I in here? It's just hard for me to prioritize when it has to do with not doing housework. I don't know if that makes sense. It's like I can't rest until my work is done. And I guess that's good sometimes, but not always. It's good to just put the work on pause and make a little trip outside and get a little sunshine and some rest and peace from the beautiful green and blue and all the beauty. So I'm outside. I'm supposed to be vacuuming, but I'm gonna vacuum after. I saw cardinal, blue jay, mockingbird, several sparrows, a few northern flickers. We have a lot on our property. Very, very cool. And yesterday we planted our first muscadines, which is a kind of grapevine. We have 2 plants and they will grow towards each other, creating a little mini vineyard here. So just wanted to show you that. There's one. And ooh, that squat was a little too long. Ow. And here's our other. And I'm gonna sit down instead of squat. And my husband's super excited about the muscadines. So I'm really glad. It's a beautiful day. The leaves are really, really falling. It's been windy and chilly, but not cold, just like nice and chilly, to where it's pleasant even in the breeze, especially in the sun. And of course in the shade it's probably like sweater weather, but not jacket or coat weather, you know. Not much is new. I thought I would share because you guys are kind of on the journey of marriage and motherhood with me these 10 years. My boys are 10 and 11, and I've always had the age 12 in mind to have like the big talk, you know, about intimacy. But they have been, and I mean, we've talked for years. We've read through Proverbs about, you know, when the adulterous woman comes up, they have questions like, what is that, you know? And I've always kept it very simple and innocent. Like you don't hold hands or kiss or sit too close to any woman except your wife. And you don't act like you're married with any woman because that's for your wife and only your wife. And so if a woman wants to do those things with you and she's not your wife, and that's the adulterous woman. And that's as simple as I've kept it for their young minds, you know. Plus, if they don't know what sex is, then that's as far as you can really take it, right? So they know that animals mate, they know that animals have different body parts, they know that babies come from them mating, but they've never said like, so do humans mate or anything. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting, so do humans mate, or I don't know. I don't know. But we've talked about plants and animals for so many years, and we've talked about the reproductive system, just the scientific part of it, minus the full act of reproduction, just like the parts of like the ovaries and the uterus and the testicles, you know, but we haven't talked about anything past that. So just the other day, maybe 2 months ago, my oldest son was like, I know everything except how the seed gets from the father to the mother. I don't get that part. Somehow that happens, and then the egg is fertilized, and then the baby grows and develops and then is born. And I was like, yep. So that's when I realized, okay, they know everything except that one big piece of the puzzle, like the conversation, you know. And I'm sure more conversations will come from that. But this is years of laying foundation of like husband and wife is a sacred marriage relationship in God. And denying the flesh, fighting sin, being pure, being holy, fleeing sexual immorality, not looking at or reading or thinking about or listening to things that are inappropriate, that don't honor God, denying the flesh. Did I say that? Your husband of one wife, you only hold her hand, you only kiss her, you only look at her, you only think about her. And until you're married, you protect your mind from thinking about other women. Until you're married, you're faithful to Christ with your body and your mind, all these conversations. And then on top of that, talking about the union of marriage that God made, and how a husband leaves his mother and father and cleaves to his wife, and how it's a beautiful relationship forever, and all these things, you know. So it's all this groundwork. So I feel like the talk that we had last night, finally, that they brought up, had such a good foundation. It wasn't like this bomb we just dropped on them, you know. And we had it individually. It kind of was because one of them asked very straight out, and probably the 4th time in the last few months, so how does the daddy fertilize the mommy's eggs? And you know, if we just keep on putting it off, they're gonna go find out somewhere else. And that's what we didn't want to happen. We wanted to be the ones to share all the truth and the things God did and God made and God wants for them and has so beautifully created for his glory and for the blessing of the husband and wife in its rightful place, versus the nasty, perverted, horrible, sinful way that the world and Satan presents it. And so we got to talk about that too, how everything that God does that's good, Satan tries to ruin. And so finally one of them asked straight out, and you know, the Lord was so kind. I have been praying for this for so long, that whenever it did happen, that it would be natural and comfortable and not awkward and weird and scary. And it wasn't. I was packing a large tea order. Hector was chatting with me in the kitchen. While I did that, he was sipping on some coffee, and then one of them just walks in and just says, "Can you please just tell me?" So I looked at Hector and we were like, this is it, like we have to. He's gonna go ask somebody else if we don't, because this is like the 4th time he asks, you know. So we shared all that stuff with him, and of course the response was, "That's weird." And I'm like, good, it should be weird. You're young, it should be weird. It doesn't need to be normal to you. And we talked more, and he had questions and we answered them, and thank the Lord, it was so comfortable and so natural. And we just urged him to not talk about it with anybody, because mommies and daddies want to tell their kids when they want to tell their kids. And we urged him to ask us anything else he may have along the way, any questions, that he does not have to be fearful or shy, that's what we're here for, and that we want to guide him through this, understanding this and seeing it the way God wants him to see it. So that was like around 7:30 at night. The other son was drawing and listening to Adventures in Odyssey, so it provided an uninterrupted, maybe 15-20 minute conversation that we were able to just have one-on-one, and it was great. And so we were like, I guess we have to talk to the other guy, because he's gonna tell him if we don't. And so we thought, man, if we do it now, by the time we were like done talking to him, Hector had some work to do. I had to finish my work. It was almost 9, and we thought, this is not a good idea to talk to him now and put him to bed with these thoughts, you know? So let's just wait. Well, next morning, today, the one we did talk to last night, I guess told the other, guess what? I know how the seed fertilizes the mommy's eggs. And so they come in the kitchen, Mom, is it true that he knows? And I was like, calm down. Is it true? Is it true? He doesn't believe me. Tell him it's true. And I was like, yes, he knows. We talked last night. We had a very big conversation last night, and we need to talk to you too. It was just too late last night, so we'll talk now. Is that all right? And he said, yes, just tell me. And I was like, well, I kicked the other one out, and I was like, okay. And he goes, it's so weird. Is it true what he said? I'm like, well, I don't know what he said. Tell me. And he said, I don't want to. I never want to talk to anybody about this. It's so weird, and I'm so uncomfortable. And I was like, well, buddy, it's okay for it to be uncomfortable. That's fine. And he's like, can you just tell me and I'll tell you yes or no, if that's what he said? And I said, sure. So we talked pretty much everything that we talked with the other one the night before. We shared with him just the foundation, reminding God's design and Satan's attempt to pervert and destroy and distort, and how it's only for your wife, and how it's a beautiful thing in marriage and it's allowed. And he had his own set of questions, which I just thought was so interesting. And he had more questions, which is fine. It was good. And I don't feel like we overdid it. I don't feel like we shared too much to where now it's like this innocence has been lost, you know? And I'm sure more questions will come. But I just wanted to share because throughout the years, this is a conversation that comes up often between me and other moms. Like, when do you talk about this? When does it come up? How did you do it? How did they respond? What did you say? Like, I don't want to talk about it, my little baby, you know, like, it's a big deal. But I've always heard the same thing from all the women that I've talked to that are ahead of me, that have older children, like, lay down that groundwork. Talk about these things throughout their life, so that when you share that one big missing piece of the puzzle, the intercourse part, when you share that, it's not like dropping a bomb, you know? It's this gradual building through the years of talking about God's design, God's beautiful union of marriage, what God wants, how God made men, how God made women, all of that, fighting against sin, being only your husband, only your wife, and then how Satan destroys the good things God makes, and just build, 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 build. And then when it's time for that big, big missing piece of the puzzle, that last piece of the puzzle, I should say, I think it's the hardest part, you know, to say that part. That's like the sentence I was dreading more than any. The penis goes inside the vagina. I didn't even say vagina. I said an opening. So I didn't want to say hole. I just think that's so ugly. And I didn't want to talk about personal, like me and daddy. Like I was saying husbands, wives, daddies, mommies, you know. I kept it very general. And so yeah, that sentence, the penis goes inside an opening, that was like the hurdle. That was the, here it comes. Okay, it's over. It's over. I said it. I saw their face like click, the information click. The shock set in. That's weird. And then moving on. What questions do you have, you know? So that's behind us. And I was praising God with tears today at how perfect he allowed it to be, because it was, like I said, just everything I hoped for. Timely, us first, no one else, no nasty, worldly, wrong picture of it, no influence from the outside world, us having the privilege to shape their little minds to see things the way God wants them to see from his word and in his ways. And I'm just thankful. The Lord really blessed me with a very kind gift that I've been praying for a long time. So I just thought it'd be encouraging to share, because it's been very encouraging for me to hear other families' conversations about this. So, God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time and have a wonderful day.